The world doesn't follow perfection. It follows persistence. And that's why, even with its scars, its failures, its unfinished work, the world still looks to America. America's power is not just in the size of its military, not just in the number of jets, ships, or tanks, not just in the technology that watches the skies. It's deeper, it's older, it's inside the DNA of a people who refuse to stop. Think about it. Every crisis this nation has faced, war, depression, terror, pandemic, Americans have stepped forward, always. The story is not just about the White House or the Pentagon. It's about the single mother working 2 jobs to keep the lights on. It's about the farmer out before dawn, feeding a nation while the world slept. It's about the teacher who refuses to give up on a kid who's already been written off. That's where America's power comes from, not from titles, not from politics, from people, from grit, from stubborn, relentless hope. You see, power isn't about being feared. It's about being tested over and over and still standing, still pushing forward, still saying, not today, not us, not now. America has been tested. Civil war, world wars, civil rights, terror on 9/11, a pandemic that emptied our streets. But every time this country found a way to get up off the ground, to rise, to move, to keep going when the world said stop. That's the real story. That's the truth. That's the truth. Military strength is important. Yes, but it's not the whole picture. America's power is in its people.
People who invent, people who build, people who rise at dawn, people who fight for each other.
Look at history. The soldiers storming the beaches at Normandy. Yeah. The doctors and nurses working through the night when COVID filled the earth. The first responders running toward the Twin Towers while everyone else ran away. That's power. Not the kind that inspires. And it's not just about survival, it's about reinvention. America reinvents itself again and again. From the Industrial Revolution to the digital revolution. From steel and railroads to semiconductors and rockets. From protests in the streets to voices in the ballot box. Reinvention, power. So when people ask, why is America the most powerful nation in the world? The answer isn't just the arsenal. It's not just the economy. It's the will of the people. It's the refusal to quit. It's the idea, born more than 2 centuries ago, that tomorrow can be better, that tomorrow will be better if we make it so. That idea, it's contagious. It moves beyond borders. That's why the world watches America. Not because it's perfect, not because it's always right, but because it refuses to stop reaching, refuses to stop fighting for better. Think about this. The greatest export America has ever had is not a product. It's not steel or oil or chips. It's resilience. The belief that no matter how hard it gets, you keep going. That you rise after every fall, that you build after every storm. This is not theory. This is not abstract. It's the reality lived every single day. The immigrant family chasing a dream. The veteran rebuilding after war. The young entrepreneur taking risks in a garage. The communities picking up after tornadoes, fires, floods. That's power, quiet, steady, relentless. And make no mistake, the rest of the world feels it. They watch it. They know it. Because real power is not about what you say. It's about what you do. And America has always done. So yes, America has weapons. Yes, it has wealth. But strip all of that away and what remains? People who refuse to stop pushing forward. A people who do not break. A people who know true power lives in never giving up. Never. That's why America is powerful. That's why America still stands. That's why America still leads. From the factory floor to the Silicon Valley garage, America's power has never been about luck. It's been about grit. Every generation has had to prove it again. Every generation has had to say freedom is worth it. Every time. This is the truth. America's greatness is not about being perfect. America has stumbled. America has fallen. America has broken promises, but America has something rare, something powerful. The ability to admit mistakes, the ability to get back up. The ability to change, and that ability, that resilience is born from freedom. Freedom to challenge, freedom to protest, freedom to demand better. That is what makes this country stronger, not weaker. Think of the immigrant who arrives with nothing but hope. Think of the student who becomes the first in their family to graduate. Think of the small business owner who risks everything to open their doors. Freedom makes that possible. Freedom fuels that rise. Freedom is the invisible engine behind every American dream, and it's not abstract, it's real. It's lived every single day. In classrooms, in courthouses, in quiet conversations at kitchen tables, In ballots cast in school gyms and church basements, that's where America's power lives. Say it again. America's strength is measured in freedom because freedom sparks innovation. Freedom ignites voices. Freedom unleashes courage. Without it, power is hollow. With it, power is unstoppable. And the world sees it. The world knows it. That's why for centuries, people have looked to America. Not because it is flawless. Not because it is easy. But because it is free. And that freedom, it carries a responsibility to protect it, to guard it, to never take it for granted, because freedom is fragile. Freedom can slip away because freedom must be defended, not just abroad, but here at home, every day. This is the charge. This is the challenge, to live like freedom matters. To remember that the power of this nation is not in the towers of Washington. It is not in the vaults of Wall Street. It is in the hearts of its people, free people. So when we measure America's strength, let us be clear. It is not just in the weapons we build. It is not just in the borders we guard. It is in the freedom to speak. It's to dream, to rise. That is the power no one can take. That is the power that lasts. That is the power of America. The world still looks to America, not because it's perfect, but because it keeps striving to be better. That's the truth. Raw, unfiltered, uncomfortable at times, but real. America has never been flawless. Far from it. It has argued. It has failed. But here's the difference. It refuses to stop reaching, refuses to stop trying, refuses to stop climbing toward that better version of itself. And the world sees that. The world feels that. That is why even when America falters, the world still looks our way. Look at history, Civil War, civil rights, Vietnam, Watergate, 9/11, a pandemic that froze the globe each time America has been cracked, but not broken, tested, but not finished. Every single time it found a way forward. Not perfect, not pretty, but progress. That's power. The ability to admit failure and still keep going. The courage to acknowledge mistakes and still rise. The refusal to quit on the idea, written in 1776, that this country can and must always become something greater. Because let's be clear, the world doesn't look to America because it always gets it right. The world looks to America because it never stops trying to. And that striving, it matters. It is contagious. When the Berlin Wall fell, it was because people believed freedom could win. When apartheid ended, it was because the idea of justice could spread. When dissidents whisper in the dark corners of regimes today, they are whispering about possibility, about America, about the idea that imperfection is not the end of the story. That is leadership, not perfection. But persistence, it is this. And you can see it every day. In a protester holding a sign demanding change.